It's still shooting fish in a barrel, guys. There's so much undercover work online. There's a new sting in Orlando almost monthly. I mean, it's all over the country. And your clients, unfortunately, when they come to you, they've already committed the crime. But it's something that you need to be aware of. There is an argument to be made for entrapment. Who's solicited or soliciting? Criminal persuasion, inducement, enticement, coercion of a minor. The criminal liability conduct does not, liability, even if defendant's conduct does not actually violate the statute. This is, again, in state court versus federal court, it's a different animal. Because in federal court, you can't file a motion to dismiss for entrapment. If you're going to raise entrapment, you're raising it at trial. In state court, we get to raise it in Florida before trial, and the judge will make a determination. But 9 out of 10 times, you have an argument for entrapment. You have an argument to prove, to say, my client, I can give you an example. My client was an attorney in Florida, practicing attorney, well-known family, well-known house, lived out a fantasy online. Never went to meet anybody, but lived in a fantasy world just like the prior lady was talking about. And he was talking in certain conversations, depending on what history you looked at, he was a woman, he was a man. This is going back 2010. But ultimately, in the process of that, he had child pornography on his case. So we argued entrapment, and we lost. Ultimately, the judge wasn't buying it. And it was weird. I thought the judge would buy it because this was the same judge I actually tried a child pornography case against in 2007 when she was a public defender. So I thought she would see that, but I lost that one. But entrapment is definitely something you have to look at. And sometimes it might require you bringing an expert in to talk about a state of mind of the individual. Predisposition goes to the entrapment. The character, the reputation of the defendant, including any prior criminal record, whether the suggestion of criminal activity was initiated by the government. Now that's important. Who brought up sex first? Was it the defendant? Was it the officer? And again, all the officers are trained in different techniques, but they're taught never to initiate the sexual conduct first. But they're human, and they get into character. And sometimes the chats get dirty, and sometimes they don't get dirty, and they're trying to push it along. So it's really important. You have to dissect every word. You have to look at who's creating the process, who's creating the sexual activity, okay? Forensics. We talked about forensics. You're going to defend forensics in cybercrime cases and the metadata. Your case is going to live and die by the metadata. All those logs I talked about, all the reports we garner, everything is in the metadata. You don't have to be able to, you got to understand the metadata. You got to be able to explain it to a jury. Now, if I sit here and explain you metadata the way I know how to explain metadata, I'm going to lose every single one of you in this room. So you got to dumb it down. You've got to find a way to, through your expert testimony, to make sure that the jury understands the metadata. So you can understand the complications of a child pornography case. You're not making it about the images. You got to use scientific data, metadata, computer data, and you got to get a jury to understand it, all while liking the guy sitting at the table accused of hoarding 100,000 pictures. Easy? So you have to find the right people to tell the story. And when you go to jury selection, you got to pick the right jury, okay? Do you want the church-going mom? Do you want the Bible dad on Sunday? You got to think about the people, okay? You got to think about the exposure that these people in your jury have. Now, everybody has different exposures, and everyone has different life experiences. But when it comes to a child pornography case, you've got to find someone who can listen and understand the science. You want to find a juror who's not going to say, he's guilty because he's sitting there and it's child pornography. Because I can't tell you how many panels we've gone through and says, I'm not going to, if I see that image, I'm done. He's guilty. So you've got to make sure you've got a jury who's not going to say, I'm looking at this picture and this guy does not get in a fair trial. Transcripts. Cut and paste transcripts are not legally accurate. Okay? Everyone understand what that means? Cut and paste? No? Maybe? Okay. When you copy, Control-C, Control-V, you copy and paste. That's what detectives do sometimes. They just copy the transcript. That's not accurate because stuff gets lost in the copy. Okay? All right, here's a cut and paste transcript. Looks pretty simple. You all think it looks accurate. Here's the computer-generated transcript. Okay? You can see the differences. What's important to understand is there are differences to the naked eye that you may not see, and I'll go back. Okay? But a lot of it comes up in emojis, in different animations, and different things that can create a loss of transfer in a cut and paste. And I won a case like that years ago in Palm Beach County where I was able to show the prosecutor, I don't think I put that transcript up there, that there were literally just blank lines and it didn't make sense. I'm like, something happened. Your detective altered the transcript.